Two angels walked through fire. The town behind them had fallen. 3 days earlier, Michael moved through dying towns with fire and a spark. Once a man, the devil claimed, now preacher in the dark. One night upon the hillside, where witches once cast spells, the angels came to Michael and lit the Pendle Fells. The outcry has been rising, the tallest angel said. The streets below are soaked in sin, the prayers mostly dead. The time has come for burning the turning stone to ash. Unless, said one, your family leaves, they will face divine wrath. Michael bowed in silence. He wept but did not speak. He thought at once of George's house where wolves surrounded sheep. Our nephew is a good man. He fears the Lord, he tries. The angels gave no promise back, just stillness in their eyes. Then tell him he must leave now. Nelson sings loud. For even if he hesitates, he'll perish with the crowd. George was a humble joiner. His back was bored with years. He listened to the Holy Scriptures like all of those with ears. His house was small and simple, a terrace, 2 up, 2 down. His neighbours lived in boarded rooms where sin and smoke blew round. He lived there with his daughter, a girl of 15 years, and with his wife who seldom spoke except through quiet tears. He knew the time was changing, his neighbours weren't his kin. A tiny light in a sea of dark, in a house surrounded by sin. His daughter Evelyn was changing, a rose among the weeds. She mimicked all the neighbours' ways, bowed to lesser creeds. She stayed out late on Fridays, she dressed in clothes too tight. She spoke in riddles, slammed the door, and wandered in the night. She'd fasted once that springtime. She'd bowed in someone's home. George saw it in her silence and in the scarlet dress she wore. He'd heard her speak in secret. He'd changed the way she thought. The dragon's breath came through her thorn in every text he wrote. Michael wore his flat cap low, dark glasses masked his eyes. He'd lived through chaos once himself, now saw through every guise. A girl sat by the little doors, her coat was thin and brown. He whispered, "God still sees you, love." She nodded, looking down. The churches had been levelled, just gravel, rubble and rust. A crescent shone where bells once rung. The hymn books turned to dust. The barbers trimmed the perfect beard. The pubs had all closed down. No one signalled, no one slowed. The cars were fast and loud. 2 men sat in the alley with foil between their knees. One leaned against the other's arm and shivered in the breeze. No cries, no calls for mercy, just flames and flickers low. And Michael knew without a doubt there wasn't far to go. The story's getting darker. George was shaping a skirting board when Michael stepped inside. He'd often stopped for tea before. This time his face had dried. They sat beside the kettle as George looked straight ahead, and Michael, quiet, cleared his throat, then simply shook his head. "It's time," he said. "It's over. This town's gone down the pan. He's issued the writ. The fire's lit. You need to load your van." "But George," he added gently, "you still have time to move. Just take your wife and girl and go, but not a step too soon." George stared into the table. He didn't make a sound. He didn't fight or curse or scoff. He only looked around. "It's home," he said. "It's all I know. I've fought to raise her right. but good fruit rots where dragons breathe around it every night. At dusk, the angels came there. "This is a dream," George said. He'd spent a lifetime walking paths where angels feared to tread. George's wife prepared the food for the angels tall and white, who enjoyed the hospitality while Evelyn stayed out all night. Outside, the streets grew louder. A car alarm went dead. A knot of vipers hissed and scoured while George was filled with dread. The dragons passed by the window. One whispered, "Who are they?" The other grinned, "They're not from here. Why don't we make them pay?" George locked the front door quickly to keep the dark at bay, to bar the shadows seeping in and cast the snakes away. The angels said, "Make haste, prepare. It's later than it seems." And still outside, the dragons stirred like distant, angry dreams. Evelyn came home near midnight, her lipstick smeared in haste. Her eyes were dark, her breath was sharp, her innocence erased. She passed the angels seated, she didn't meet their eyes. She climbed the stairs without a word, a storm behind disguise. George paced along the window. The night drew slowly in. The dragon's breath was in the pipes, a toxic song within. He went up to Evelyn's bedroom, her phone lit up her face.
"I'm going soon,"
was all she said.
"I've found a better place." He listens when I'm speaking. He sees what I could be. He fills me with excitement, and he's come to set me free.
She packed her bags, left the house, and walked into the abyss. She traded mournful order for a life of dragon's bliss. George packed his bag by morning, and with no time to waste, he placed his wife's coat on the seat. His jaw was tight and braced. "We'll go," he said. "We must leave now. The town won't hold much more." But all she did was sweep the floor and glance back towards the door.
"She might come home,"
his wife said.
"She only needs some space."
But Michael's words still burned in George. "You must not leave a trace." She stared out through the window, her breath against the pane.
"I won't give up on Evelyn. She's coming home again."
That night, she lost her footing. She wept until she cracked, and when the van pulled out at dawn, she begged him to go back. But silence filled the rear view. The road turned sharp and wide, and George, now empty of reply, drove straight into the tide. The van was old and rattling, his wife now by his side. On the outside she was breathing, on the inside something died. She couldn't see a future, her mind was in the past. The smoke of Nelson brought her back to all she'd left too fast. They passed the church in Clitheroe, its windows lit with grace. They didn't stop, they didn't pray, just stared through Evelyn's space. A farmer gave them shelter, a dog lay by the shed. George hammered nails for 7 weeks and cursed the life he'd led. His wife was lost to silence, his daughter lost to flame. He'd fled the town that could not change and left behind his name. The dragon didn't chase him, but neither did it sleep. And George, though safe upon the hill, had promises to keep. No fire came down from heaven, no brimstone split the sky. The clouds hung low, the wind grew still, and no one asked them why. The churches stood abandoned, the altars black with flies. The cross was pulled from every wall, the last had shut its eyes. For George had been the final one, the last to bow and kneel. And when he left, the time was marked, its fate already sealed. The dragons were in Parliament, in suits behind a desk. They hissed through bills and bulletins, and smiled when things progressed. The dragons moved in daylight now. They taught in schools and trades. They lit the ends of every dream. and sold them wrapped in shades. The mosque grew tall with banners, the pride flag crowned the square, and neither side could see the beast that danced between them there. No one spoke of George again. His house was sold for rent, and Nelson, in its final breath, forgot why he was sent. You can raise a child in order, teach them the right way, but chaos will devour them when surrounded by decay. Teach them how to spot the dragon, to run and not look back, for even one last glance behind can turn a pure soul black.